For tonight's gratitude retreat, we are not going to start off with a countdown timer or anything like that. We are just going to relax. Go ahead and print out the moths in colored pencil if you haven't done so before, or if you haven't even gotten to that part yet. Now is the perfect time to do so. Now you'll see I have painted some of these pretty wings that I drew out from the templates. You can print those templates in the separate sheet as well. And bring a little calmness to yourself, because we are just going to create and play and be free and mindful about every pencil stroke. Using your pencils is a really nice way to calm down, and it doesn't have to be some special pencil from somewhere special. It can be whatever you have at hand and with whatever colors you have available. I'm going to take this torn out piece of paper from one of my old sketchbooks and just play with these colors. This one is light gray. Maybe do a gradient, try and see what it looks like when it's dark and thick, and what it looks like when it's thinner, when you release the pressure. There's very few things in life we can control, but how much pencil we lay down on the page is definitely one of them. This is the light violet. It feels kind of harder than the other one. This one is night green, and I like it a lot. It almost reminds me of the peacock green I used to have. Well, I still have it. It's just small and lost somewhere. I'll have to look for it. But it's very close to that one. Um, Olive green. Let's try olive green. I don't even know if these colors will look good together. I was coloring in something else, and these were left over on my table when I hit the record button for today's gratitude retreat, is just to bring all of those ideas together. Cedar green is this next one. Like I said, to bring all the ideas together and cut out all the interruptions and just calmly and freely go about creating this space where we can, what has happened this month in our lives that made us feel a little happier than normal? What happened that wasn't feeling good in the moment but turned out to be a blessing? And what practices we've allowed ourselves to use and indulge in. This one is pink, pink madder or pink madder rose. It's very hard for my eyes to see that printing, especially if it's a long consecutive word. But I think it's madder, pink madder. This one is light orange. And I'm starting to like the oranges a little bit more these days. But pink and yellow, violet, blue, green, and all those colors are beautiful to use. I guess it all depends on where you place them and what you're going to use them for. This next one is vermilion, and I really like this particular shade of vermilion. It almost hints towards red, but doesn't hit the red mark, even though it's a really good go between. Now, looking at this color palette, I immediately noticed that we need something dark. And I know I was busy with the dark gray somewhere. Give me a second to look for that. Um, because I want something that is deep and dark and grounded in this little color palette. So I was happy to pick up some of those and play with them. But I really need something dark to ground all of these colors together and to help me add a little depth into those pencil marks I'm going to create for the wings. So these are very deceptive when only their tips are sticking out. So I have to draw them out and look. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry for yawning. It might be a really good time for you to also relax. And I think that yawn was just a message to myself that maybe I'm more tired and more exhausted at the end of the month than I thought I was. So dark gray is finally in my hand, and we can swatch that one out as well. Have you been thinking about what you are grateful for this month? Maybe while we create together, think about the things that made you happy, that brought a smile to your face, or maybe just a gesture somebody gave you in a moment when you didn't know what to do next. So I'm going to pull out this trusty old sharpener and just sharpen some of these pencils. I do want to use them for making fine, thin, feathery wing lines. And they were not going to give me the effect I want if I'm using them blunt. So if you've got a few blunt pencils there, go ahead and sharpen yours, not to a very crisp, sharp point, just a nice, sturdy, sharp taper. This always reminds me of childhood and the fun we used to have as children. Now, I know that I was often chased to bed um, because I was sitting in bed coloring in when I was supposed to be sleeping. I would color in while we were traveling. I would color in when I was bored. And yes, I think my imagination just gravitated to coloring books and colorful things. I even used some of those shavings to create like soft, cloudy colors for sketchbook. Well, not sketchbooks. I knew nothing about sketchbooks then, but to put around the edges of my coloring books and then decorate over that.
I stayed healthy this
So these little wings I cut out of regular typing paper. They're not on sturdy watercolor paper or anything fancy. They're just on regular paper. And you'll see these don't have black edges because these were some of the originals that I sort of cut out and then traced so that you can have a set with the same patterns. Now, there's something special about moths that helped me understand how to not hide myself and my talents and the things I'm really good at, but instead to also spread my wings, and show the world what I have inside, what I'm made of, what I'm able to give and give back to those in need.
My order from
Now,
Target is ready to
moths have a tendency to camouflage themselves really, really well and are only seen by the true trained eye. And if at some point you feel that I am not
investigate.
visible enough, please let me know. Um, I do want more people to know about me, but I'm not always the best at um, being visible. I'm going to be there for you all the time inside the membership, but I'm not always available anywhere else. And I don't want to put myself out there as being available all the time because I do have a lot of things to do. But maybe the moth can help you to also determine when you want to be in hiding
Now for my
and when
order,
you want to be visible.
they're preparing the shipment.
So there are no guidelines for these little moth wings we are doing. And I think it's here where we can allow our imagination to take hold.
Because
Every
I
little
was wearing
pencil mark um,
but I have to
is
do some.
going to show you a little something more,
And he's just like,
a little
really? Like,
extra detail, a little
why is
extra depth.
the hood?
But try not
Okay,
to
okay.
cover the whole thing with the same color.
If it's
Rather,
closed,
work on
then
focused
these are
areas
closed.
of specific colors and enhance those little marks. Right now, I'm just making those fluffy, furry marks on his back and head, and also just indicating that there are a few feelers. So if you feel your moth needs a body, cut a little extra body or trim the wings so that they can overlap better and not need a body. Any case, I'm cutting out a extra bit of body there because I realized that the body wasn't showing the way I was placing the wings and that our moth needed a body. Again, same technique as I used for the head and the feelers, just creating sketchy marks that could represent the that fluffy look of a moth.
I hope Joe's okay, that he's not hurt, that he didn't fall down, that he didn't hurt his leg. Maybe he's in the street.
Joe isn't hurt, he's just not showing up. Oh, I know what you're saying. And I don't like it. Joe will be here. Really? What did I say? You know what? I can't
Maybe add a little bit of that yellow, or that was ochre, wasn't it? Um, just to give a little bit of interest. But don't try and cover the whole thing. Just make a couple of marks here and there, maybe on the highlight area or the raised part of the body, or maybe on one end that catches some light.
Okay, through the door. Don't let it hit you in the ass on the way out. Because I'm something here. This means something to me.
And this is where that dark gray or warm gray comes in handy because now you can make some more sketchy lines and um, patterns on there that could represent moth and the fluffy look of the moth.
I've been through too much together, and I'm not gonna let this end in
I'm going to add some of that vermilion in here as well. I don't know, I'm just letting my imagination go. I don't want it too dark or too colorful. Um, but it must look like it's going to fit into the end result of the mouth.
I appreciate that. Uh, well, honestly, I wish I had better news. Because you guys were all terrific, honestly. And you all definitely deserve
I'm
recognition.
also
You know,
putting some of that dark
you know,
um,
safe to say, no one wanted to say goodbye to
cedar
me.
green on the edges to give it some form and shape.
And just how special
I
you
know it's a tiny little area, and some of these details are
are. And to me,
hardly even noticeable,
we're just not going to be able to
but it is there to complement the previous layers
do myself.
and give you more depth.
You gave it the best shot you. And we're very proud of you. You did good. You did our best job. Your mother would be proud.
You know what? Now we're all like family, right? So that's the one thing that we
Now,
can
you
do.
might have realized by now that today's virtual gratitude retreat isn't taking place at night because I pre recorded it and made it available as raw footage while we are busy drawing and painting. So you'll hear life happening in the background as I just had no other time to really do it. And it was all pre recorded, and I'm sitting back looking at it now, doing the voiceover so that I can add the replay for you to watch. Now, in that moment, we were just rolling cameras. I did tell everyone I was busy recording for a lesson, but sometimes we just forget that life is happening around us. As I'm sure life is also happening at your house. And when we have a creative career like this, home and family sometimes collide. But I'm sitting here right next to my daughter. We are all watching television and spending some time together while I also do something relaxing without thinking too much. And it makes it so much easier to get to that voiceover later and just talk you through the whole process, because in that moment, I often forget to say what I'm doing. Now, you have noticed that these two wings, I'm trying to emulate them so they have some resemblance, but I don't want to create exact replicas. Now, having them back to back like that gave me some indication of where I'm going to create those textural marks and the depth and the patterns that are going to appear on this very special moth. I don't know if it's going to be bright or, well, in that moment, I didn't know. I know what the end result looks like now, and it is going to be colorful. With your next color, do exactly the same. Make little marks where you initially want them and hold the other wing against that one and sort of place the same type of mark on the second wing. This is a fun way to play and practice and just be a little bit more mindful over where you're going to place them. If you can add some guidelines for yourself and then play with that guideline in one color. Let's For now, keep one color per section, per shape we are doing.
Oh my gosh. Mama,
Mm.
ako telling me and half and it's okay, yep. Can I show you something?
Right now, I'm just adding a little bit more detail on top of those pink madder blobs and adding some vermilion, or what is this? Is it? Yeah, it's vermilion on there to create a little shadow or depth, or maybe just a drop of detail. Look like a fusion between a moth in hiding and a moth that really wants to show their true colors. So right now I'm just adding a little bit
Doesn't take
of
much of a
the
response.
darker cedar green between those pink marks and sort of unifying them with that purple corner. And again, just keeping it subtle with one scratchy line at a time to create that texture a moth wing has. If you look closely at a close up of a moth or a butterfly wing, you'll see that it looks like it has texture, but it's difficult to recreate. So we're just using scratchy pencil marks. Now, I also don't want to talk the whole way through. Mute out all the noise and just let you create while you follow along. If there's something important or something I haven't done before, I'll come back in and talk you through it. But for the most part, it's the same technique. We're going to use the pencils, make marks on one, then replicate them on the other one, and create moth like details. If you want to go crazy and do more, that's up to you. If you want to do less, that's also up to you. All you have to keep in mind is that you relax and breathe. If look at this little video because I was filming. Well, the flowers, even I know we always Now, I know that in a minute we will have to go and get some medicine for Amaray and get her sorted out. There's always a reason why she's home with me. And today is just one of those days where aches and pains have got the better of her. I'm glad you took a little break, and it's now time for part two. And in part two, we are going to create the bottom of those second set of wings. And these are going to be much more simpler and easier for you to do now that you already know how to do it. Isn't this beautiful sunny spot just amazing this time of afternoon? This time of the afternoon. I have so many favorite times in the day. I'd love to know when and what time your favorite time of every day is. And let's share in each other's love for creativity and playfulness and the moments we've taken for ourselves to be in gratitude. Also, don't be afraid to share your images. They can be shared below here in the comments, or, and I'm talking about the mini membership in the virtual gratitude retreat replay section. If you're watching this on YouTube with a special link, maybe you could join us in the sketchbook journal and share your images there. I'd love to see how you bring your pencils to life in creating your own little moths. Any case, lucky for me, I know exactly what I'm busy working on, and it's easy for me to get back into the flow of this creative process as I just have to pick up the next color because they are all laid out there. I tested them before, and it's easy to get back into it. So there shouldn't be any disruptions for you if you've set aside this time to play with your coloring pencils and create little moths. But if you need to take a break, you are more than welcome to pause the video because this is the replay version, of course, and you get to have as much time as you want in each of the sections and completing it in multiple sessions if you want to. You don't have to do it all in one go. If you've got small pockets of time, like I had about a half an hour earlier, and maybe that was more than half an hour, but now I have the next amount of time available to sit down and continue this journey while everyone else takes a nice afternoon nap. Now you can see that the sun has shifted on my little table and that we are getting some afternoon light on here. And I really like these late afternoon sessions. If I've got time, I always come and sit at my little table and have a little play session or just page through coloring books and maybe start a page or just do something for me. I am constantly busy, always rushing from the one thing to the next, and knowing that I have this little messy table to come back to anytime I want to is my little secret weapon. And, a lot of things on that little table is or this little table is hidden from view because it's covered up by our current project. But there are a lot of things happening here, and some projects get lost because I don't finish them, or they get repurposed for other projects, or they land in my sketchbook as collage. And that is the fun part, is you get to do with your art and your creative pieces whatever you want. And if they don't look good and you did them on a separate piece, just put them one side. Don't throw them away yet. Just put them to one side, maybe hide them in a file, and later come back and retry the project, redo the project, and then see how you go. Did you learn something? Was it easier this time around? And how did you do? I find that some of the times when I get back to some of my old work, especially if it's been a year or two or maybe longer, I'm always surprised at how much I appreciate it now. But I remember in the moment, I didn't really like that thing very much. So continue on your practices and do as many mindful things as you wish to do. And if you just like to sit here and watch me finish this session, then I'm going to put on a little more music for you to listen through to the end.
No, of course. I can overcome any obstacle. Oh, thank you, Johnny. Thank you.
With a little shuffle here and there, it is now time for you to glue and assemble your little moth. Thank you for being here and have a beautiful rest of the month.
That's not a present. That's just common business. Yeah, but I fork and. Good talk.